Shri Praful Patel.
So, Vice Chairman, sir, I'll be very brief. I'll honor the sentiments of the Finance Minister. Sir, I was a member of the committee, select committee, so I would not want to spell out too many things, except that I feel that this is also one of the continuous progressive and enabling legislations in the true sense to ensure that our banking sector, our financial services sector remains healthy and strong. Sir, the problems of our banking sector have been many, and the huge NPAs which have been talked about by all members almost are genuine, and that has caused a big stress on the entire sector. We had typically two types of borrowers, sir. One is, of course, the very honest borrower, the small borrower, maybe like a student loan, farmer's loan, small MSME, or even a big industrialist, but who has... Pardon? Yeah. No, but I'm saying these are the kind of borrowers who one would classify as genuine borrowers who have gone to the banking sector out of necessity and need. And even industry, there are a class of borrowers which can be termed as genuine borrowers who have contributed greatly to economic activity, industrial activity of the country. But on the other side, there is another class of borrowers, amongst the bigger borrowers especially, who have basically ab initio treated the entire banking sector as if their fiefdom and tried to, I would say, in a way, gold plating of funds and projects has been very predominant in the banking sector. And sir, we know, sir, Finance Minister need not be told, he would have checked by now that for the same type of project, say somebody is putting up a steel project or a power project or any project of a comparable nature, per capacity, per ton capacity or per megawatt capacity, one person is setting up a power project, say at 5 crores a megawatt, somebody setting up at 6 crores a megawatt, somebody setting up at 7 crores a megawatt. That itself reflects that somewhere down the line, both the intent of the borrower and I would say to even some extent, I may not attribute only mala fide, but even the lender has in a way willy-nilly supported the borrower to borrow at such high rates, number one, combined with the fact that we've had very high interest rates in our country, combined with the two, I'm sure that ab initio that project was itself set out to be an NPA as the years went by. And I don't want to name anybody, but the fact is the Finance Minister is well aware of such class of borrowers. And I think, therefore, the strengthening of these laws was very important and it needed to be taken to its logical conclusion. One of the interesting things we noticed, sir, during when we were part of the committee, our chairman is sitting here, that when we spoke to the RBI and we asked them that are personal guarantees required for people who are borrowing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 crores, because at the end of the day, those personal guarantees are meaningless when such large amounts of monies are involved. And the answer which we got from the RBI was that personal guarantees are not at all insisted by the RBI. In fact, there is no direction to any bank to have personal guarantees. So while I would not want to talk of personal guarantees in the context of the big borrowers, when we talk of small farmers or small borrowers in terms of student loans and all, I think personal guarantees there would actually be, meaningless, because that kind of borrower really, whatever little he has, it's in one stroke, the bank or the institution can take away his asset. Whereas in the case of the big borrower, who has access to innumerable, legal options, they can keep on dragging these, proceedings for years and years. That has been the background, and that is why this legislation was important to ensure that people who have borrowed are brought to book and monies can be recovered from them in due course of time. But sir, only limited point I would like to make is that while all this is fine, the small borrower especially, though the Finance Minister just mentioned that that's a very large category of NPAs, but I think some consideration, especially for smaller people, small entrepreneurs, small businesses, farmers and students, need to be considered while framing the guidelines once this act is passed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.